Pop quiz, hot shot. What's rectangular snaps with a satisfying crack, and is welcome in lunchboxes, desk drawers, and vending machines the world over. If you said a Kit Kat, you get a gold star. This isn't just a candy bar, it's a global phenomenon, a small, foil-wrapped permission slip to take 5 minutes for yourself. The combination of light, crispy wafers and smooth, sweet milk chocolate is a triumph of food engineering, a texture and flavor party where everyone is invited. It's simple, yet it's perfect. But have you ever stopped mid-snap to wonder where this iconic treat actually comes from? How does it get that signature crunch? And what makes the chocolate so Kit Kat-y? The story is far more complex and fascinating than you might think. A journey that spans continents and involves a whole lot of science. The beauty of a Kit Kat lies in its brilliant simplicity. 4 fingers of wafer enrobed in chocolate just waiting to be snapped apart and enjoyed. Or not snapped apart, if you're one of people. We don't judge, but we do notice. This simple pleasure is the result of a very precise, very carefully controlled process. It's a delicate dance of ingredients, temperatures, and timing. Every single element from the flour in the wafer to the milk in the chocolate has a specific role to play. To truly appreciate the break, we must first understand the build. We need to go back to the beginning, to the very source of its chocolatey soul, and follow the ingredients on their long and winding road to becoming the candy bar we know and love. So, prepare to embark on a culinary expedition. We're going to pull back the curtain on the Kit Kat factory and expose the secrets hiding in plain sight. This is a story of agriculture, chemistry, and good old-fashioned ingenuity. It's about how raw, humble ingredients are transformed through a series of meticulous steps into a confectionery icon. We'll explore the roasting, the grinding, the mixing, and the baking. We'll even find out what happens to the Kit Kats that don't quite make the cut. Because in the world of food science, nothing goes to waste. So grab a cup of coffee, maybe even a Kit Kat for, research purposes, and let's get ready to unwrap the magic behind one of the world's favorite breaks. Now, before we step onto the factory floor with its gleaming machines and rivers of chocolate, our story must begin in a much warmer, much greener place. Our journey starts thousands of miles away under the hot sun of West Africa. This is where the heart of the Kit Kat, the cocoa bean, is born. The quality of the final chocolate bar is determined right here, in the rich soil of countries like Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana. The farmers who cultivate these beans are the unsung heroes of our story, the first and most crucial link in a long chain of production. Their knowledge and hard work are the foundation upon which every single Kit Kat is built. So, let's travel to the tropics and see how it all begins. Our story starts not with a bar, but with a bean. Specifically, the cacao bean, which grows inside large, colorful pods on the Theobroma cacao tree. Think of these pods as nature's treasure chests. Farmers in West Africa, who are experts in this crop, know exactly when to harvest them. Using long poles with sharp blades, they carefully cut the ripe pods from the trees, without damaging the branches. Once on the ground, the pods are split open with a machete, a task that requires great skill to avoid slicing the precious beans inside. Inside each pod is a white, sweet pulp surrounding about 30 to 50 cacao beans. This is the first crucial step in the long journey from a tropical farm to your afternoon snack. Once the beans are freed from their pods, they aren't ready for the chocolate factory just yet. First, they must undergo fermentation. The beans, still coated in their white pulp, are piled into heaps, often on banana leaves, and covered. For the next 5 to 7 days, a kind of natural magic happens. Microorganisms in the pulp begin to work, creating heat and breaking down the sugars. This process is vital. It gets rid of the bitter taste of the raw beans and starts to develop the rich, complex flavors we associate with chocolate. It's a bit like making sourdough bread or fermenting grapes for wine. It's a controlled transformation that unlocks the potential hidden within the raw ingredient. After fermentation, the beans, which have now turned a brownish color, need to be dried. Farmers spread them out on large mats or raised bamboo tables under the hot tropical sun. They must be raked and turned regularly to ensure they dry evenly and to prevent mold from growing. This drying process can take a week or more, depending on the weather. The goal is to reduce the moisture content in the beans from about 60% down to around 7%. Properly dried beans can be stored and transported without spoiling. Before they are bagged up, the farmers perform a final quality check, removing any broken beans, stones, or other debris. Only the best beans will make it to the next stage. Finally, the dried, fermented cacao beans are packed into large jute sacks. Each sack can weigh over 130 pounds. These bags are then loaded onto trucks and ships, ready for their long voyage to the Nestle factories in places like York, England, where the Kit Kat was born. This journey from a small farm to a massive industrial facility is a critical part of the global food system. It connects the hard work of thousands of farmers to the millions of people who enjoy the final product. The beans that arrive at the factory are the culmination of months of careful cultivation, harvesting, and preparation. They are no longer just seeds, they are the promise of chocolate. When the sacks of cacao beans arrive at the factory, they aren't just dumped into a machine. Oh no. The first order of business is cleaning. Think of it as giving the beans a much-needed spa day after their long trip. They are passed through a series of machines that use sieves, magnets, and air jets to remove any lingering bits of pod, stray stones, dried pulp, or anything else that isn't a perfect cacao bean. This step is non-negotiable for quality and safety. You wouldn't want a pebble in your Kit Kat, would you? Only the purest, cleanest beans are allowed to move on to the next, and arguably most important stage of their transformation, the roasting. Roasting is where the real artistry begins. The clean beans are tumbled inside massive rotating ovens. The temperature and time are controlled with scientific precision because this is where the final chocolate flavor is truly born. The heat causes a series of complex chemical reactions inside the bean, a process known as the Maillard reaction. The same thing that makes toast brown and gives steak its delicious crust. This process reduces bitterness and develops those deep, nutty, and fruity notes that we crave in good chocolate. Different beans from different regions are often roasted separately to bring out their unique characteristics before being blended together to create the signature Kit Kat flavor profile. After roasting, the beans are quickly cooled to stop the cooking process. Now they look and smell a lot more like chocolate. The next step is called winnowing. The roasted beans are cracked open, which shatters their thin outer shell, or husk. The broken pieces are then placed in a machine that uses powerful air currents to blow the light, papery husks away, leaving behind the pure, broken pieces of cacao bean, which are now called cacao nibs. These nibs are the essence of chocolate. They contain roughly 50% cocoa butter and 50% cocoa solids, the two key components we need. Nothing is wasted here. The leftover husks are often sold for use in garden mulch or other products. Now it's time to get down to business. The cacao nibs are sent to the grinders. They pass through a series of heavy steel rollers that grind and crush them into smaller and smaller particles. The friction and pressure from the grinding process generate heat, which melts the cocoa butter within the nibs. The result is a thick, dark, gritty liquid known as chocolate liquor. Don't let the name fool you, there's no alcohol involved. This rich, unadulterated paste is the fundamental building block from which all chocolate products are made. It is pure concentrated chocolate in its most basic form, ready to be mixed, refined, and turned into something truly delicious. While one part of the factory is busy turning beans into chocolate, another section is dedicated to creating the Kit Kat's crunchy soul, the wafer. This isn't just any old cookie. The Kit Kat wafer has to be incredibly light, crispy, and strong enough to hold its shape during the production process. The recipe begins with simple ingredients: flour, sugar, fat, water, and a leavening agent like sodium bicarbonate. These are mixed together in giant industrial mixers to form a smooth, liquid batter. The consistency of this batter is crucial. If it's too thick, the wafers will be heavy and dense. If it's too thin, they won't cook properly. It has to be just right. The wafer batter is then pumped onto enormous baking plates. These are essentially giant, double-sided waffle irons, engraved with the familiar grid pattern you see on a single wafer sheet. The plates, which can be over a yard long, are heated to a precise temperature. The batter is spread evenly before the top plate closes, pressing the batter flat and baking it in a matter of minutes. As it bakes, the water in the batter turns to steam, creating thousands of tiny air pockets. This is what gives the wafer its signature light, airy texture. The process is fast and continuous, with hundreds of these large wafer sheets being produced every hour. As the hot golden brown wafer sheets emerge from the ovens, they are still soft and pliable. They travel along a long cooling conveyor belt, often passing through a cooling arch or tunnel. This allows them to cool down and become firm, and crispy. The cooling process must be gradual to prevent the wafers from cracking or becoming too brittle. Quality control inspectors check the sheets as they come out, looking for any that are broken, burnt, or not baked correctly. Only the perfect sheets will move on to the next stage of assembly. The air in this part of the factory is filled with the warm, toasty smell of freshly baked goods. Once cooled, the large wafer sheets are ready for their filling. But what is that filling made of? This is one of the most brilliant parts of the Kit Kat story. The creamy layer between the wafers is made from cocoa and sugar, but its secret ingredient is ground-up Kit Kats. That's right. Any bars that get broken or don't meet the strict quality standards during production are collected, ground into a fine paste, and mixed into the filling. This is a masterful example of reducing waste. It ensures that every bit of chocolatey goodness is used, and it adds an extra layer of Kit Kat flavor right into the center of the bar. This clever, sustainable practice is a key part of the manufacturing process. Let's dig a little deeper into that filling. As we've established, its base is made from imperfect Kit Kat bars. This isn't just about being thrifty, it's about flavor continuity. By recycling the finished product back into the process, the factory ensures a consistent taste profile. The broken bars, chocolate, wafers and all, are sent to a machine that grinds them down into a very fine, smooth paste. This paste captures the complete essence of a Kit Kat. It's a concentrated dose of the very thing it's destined to become a part of. This is food science at its most efficient and frankly its most clever. No wonder the center of a Kit Kat tastes so familiar. To this ground-up Kit Kat paste, other ingredients are added to create the final creamy filling. A precise amount of cocoa powder is blended in to enhance the chocolate notes, and sugar is added for sweetness. A type of vegetable fat is also mixed in, which helps to give the filling its smooth, spreadable texture and allows it to set properly between the wafer layers. The mixture is blended thoroughly in large vats until it becomes a uniform, luscious cream. The recipe is carefully calibrated to ensure that the filling complements the crispiness of the wafer and the sweetness of the outer chocolate coating, rather than overpowering them. It's all about achieving the perfect balance. Now it's time for assembly. The large, cool sheets of wafer are sent down a production line. A machine, looking like a giant spatula, spreads a precise layer of this chocolatey filling onto a wafer sheet. Then, another wafer sheet is carefully placed on top. This process is repeated, creating a stack wafer, filling, and a final wafer on top. Most standard Kit Kat bars have 3 layers of wafer and 2 layers of filling. The machines work with incredible speed and precision, building these large, multi-layered wafer and filling sandwiches one after another. Each layer must be perfectly aligned to ensure the final bars are uniform. Once the large wafer and filling blocks are assembled, they need a moment to set. They pass through another cooling tunnel, which helps the fatty filling to solidify and bond the wafer sheets together firmly. This ensures that the block won't fall apart during the next crucial stages of cutting and coating. After cooling, the large blocks are firm and ready to be cut. They are fed into a machine with a series of sharp, precise cutting wheels or blades. These blades slice the blocks first lengthwise into long strips, and then crosswise into the iconic finger shapes we recognize. At this point, they look like naked Kit Kats, all crunch and filling, but missing their final, most important element, the chocolate coat. The naked Kit Kat fingers are now ready for their final transformation. But first, we need to prepare their chocolate bath. The chocolate liquor we made earlier is just the starting point. To make the smooth, glossy milk chocolate that coats a Kit Kat, it needs to be mixed with other key ingredients. Large quantities of milk powder, sugar, and extra cocoa butter are added to the chocolate liquor in massive mixers called mélangeurs. These ingredients are blended together to create the sweet, creamy flavor that is characteristic of milk chocolate. The specific ratio of these ingredients is a closely guarded secret, part of what gives Kit Kat its unique taste. Getting the right taste is only half the battle. The texture is just as important. The mixed chocolate is still slightly gritty from the sugar and milk particles. To make it silky smooth, it goes through a process called refining. The mixture is passed through a series of heavy steel rollers that grind the particles down to an incredibly small size, smaller than the human tongue can detect. This can take hours, but it's what gives the chocolate its luxurious, melt-in-your-mouth feel. After refining, the chocolate is a fine powder. It then goes into a process called conching, where it's heated and mixed continuously for hours or even days. This develops the flavor further and removes any unwanted acidic notes, resulting in the smoothest chocolate possible. The final step before coating is called tempering. This is a crucial heating and cooling process that stabilizes the crystals in the cocoa butter. If you just melt and cool chocolate, it can become dull, crumbly, and develop a white film on the surface. Tempering ensures that the chocolate will set with a beautiful glossy shine, a satisfying snap when you break it, and a smooth texture. The tempered chocolate is kept at a precise temperature in a large vat, ready for the main event. Now the uncoated wafer fingers, marching in neat rows on a wire conveyor belt, are about to meet their destiny. They enter the enrober, which is the most mesmerizing part of the whole factory. Here, the wafer fingers pass through a continuous flowing curtain of perfectly tempered liquid milk chocolate. It's like a chocolate waterfall. The chocolate flows over the top and sides of the fingers, while a wheel underneath coats the bottom. As they exit the enrober, an air blower removes any excess chocolate to ensure a perfectly even coating. The newly covered bars immediately enter a long cooling tunnel. This tunnel quickly chills the chocolate, causing it to set hard and shiny, locking the crispy wafers inside their delicious milk chocolate shell. The transformation is complete. The journey of the Kit Kat bar doesn't end when it comes out of the cooling tunnel. It now has to be presented to the world. But before the foil and paper wrapper comes the brand's most powerful tool, its slogan: "Have a break. Have a Kit Kat." These 6 simple words are one of the most successful and enduring advertising slogans of all time. They don't just sell a candy bar, they sell an idea. The slogan, first used in 1957, brilliantly connects the physical act of breaking the chocolate finger with the emotional act of taking a personal break from the stresses of daily life, work, or study. This simple phrase transformed the Kit Kat from a mere confection into a cultural icon. It gave people a reason, a permission to pause. Feeling overwhelmed at work? Have a break. Studying for a tough exam? Have a break. The slogan positioned the candy bar as a small ritual, a companion for those moments of rest and recharge. It's a genius piece of marketing because it taps into a universal human need. Everyone needs a break sometimes, and Kit Kat cleverly made its product synonymous with that moment of relief. The slogan is so effective that it has been used for over 60 years, a testament to its timeless appeal and deep connection with consumers. The physical design of the bar itself reinforces this idea. The 4-finger layout practically begs to be snapped apart and shared, making the break a social activity as well as a personal one. The satisfying snap as you break off a finger is an auditory cue that your moment of relaxation has begun. This multi-sensory experience, the sight of the iconic red wrapper, the sound of the snap, the feel of the chocolate, and the taste of the combined wafer and chocolate, all work together to reinforce the message of the slogan. It's a holistic brand experience that was engineered just as carefully as the candy bar itself. This powerful branding is a key reason for Kit Kat's global success. While the recipe might be tweaked slightly to suit local tastes in different countries, for example, with hundreds of unique flavors in Japan, the core message remains the same. The invitation to have a break is universally understood and appreciated. It has allowed the brand to cross cultural and language barriers, making it a beloved treat from London to Tokyo. The slogan is more than just words on a wrapper. It's the philosophy that gives the Kit Kat its enduring identity and place in our lives. Our Kit Kat bars are now fully formed, coated, and cooled. They look perfect, but the journey isn't over. Before any bar is allowed to leave the factory, it must pass a final, rigorous quality inspection. As the bars move along the conveyor belt, they pass under high-speed cameras and through metal detectors. The cameras scan each bar, checking for size, shape, and an even chocolate coating. Any bar that is chipped, misshapen, or not up to standard is automatically rejected from the line. As we know, these rejected bars don't go to waste, they'll be ground up to become the filling for a future batch of Kit Kats. This ensures that only the best-looking bars make it to the packaging stage. Once a bar passes inspection, it's time to get dressed. The wrapping process is a blur of mechanical motion. Machines work at incredible speeds to first wrap each 4-finger bar in a protective layer of foil. This foil is crucial for keeping the chocolate fresh and protecting it from moisture and light. Then, the iconic red paper sleeve is wrapped around the foil. The machines fold, seal, and cut the packaging with flawless precision, turning out thousands of perfectly wrapped Kit Kats every minute. The wrapped bars are then grouped together and packed into larger multi-packs or display boxes ready for shipping. The boxes of Kit Kats are stacked onto pallets, which are then loaded onto trucks, trains, and ships. From the factory, they begin their final journey to distribution centers, supermarkets, corner stores, and vending machines all around the world. It's a massive logistical operation designed to get the fresh candy bars into the hands of consumers as quickly as possible. The goal is to ensure that when you pick up a Kit Kat, it's as fresh and crispy as the day it was made. This global distribution network is what makes it possible for someone in virtually any country to enjoy the same simple pleasure of a Kit Kat break. So the next time you tear open that red wrapper and snap off a finger of Kit Kat, take a moment to think about the incredible journey it has taken. Think about the cacao farmers in West Africa, the scientists in the factory perfecting the chocolate, the giant ovens baking the light, crispy wafers, and the amazing machines that bring it all together. From a bean on a tree to a bar in your hand, the creation of a Kit Kat is a story of global cooperation, clever science, and a dedication to creating a small, perfect moment of joy. It's a lot of work for a simple break, but as millions of people around the world would agree, it's absolutely worth it.